These islands don't look like much, but they're at the centre of a simmering dispute about who owns them. In all, 7 countries have overlapping claims to islands in the South and East China Seas, and there's one common player, China, which has been jostling with its neighbours over maritime territories for more than a century. But recent tensions have threatened to boil over, potentially dragging in the United States and even prompting talk about possible war. So here's the situation. China claims more than 80% of the South China Sea within a border it calls the 9-dash line, whose legitimacy it says is proven by a 1940s map. About a decade ago, countries started making formal claims under new UN rules. That led to a rush of moves from several nations to show ownership. China got the most attention. It started to build islands, installing runways and deep water berths. That led the Philippines to challenge China's claims in an international tribunal at The Hague. The Philippines won the case in July 2016. China's reaction? The award is null and void and has no binding force. The reaction of the US?
The United States will stand with allies and partners in upholding fundamental interests.
Washington endorsed the ruling and called for peaceful resolve. Beijing says it has no intention of preventing commercial traffic, but is simply protecting its territory. 1,000 miles north in the East China Sea, China's also locked in a dispute with its age-old rival Japan over another rocky outcrop. China calls them the Diaoyu Islands. Japan calls them the Senkaku Islands. The US doesn't take a formal position on their sovereignty, but in 2014, President Obama vowed to defend them. So far, the dispute's been confined to jostling for position by ships and aircraft. Here's the argument. There's one big incentive for countries like China and Japan to stay friendly. It's called trade. The South China Sea is a critical artery of global commerce, hosting $5 trillion of trade every year. On the other hand, given how quickly China's been building its military positions in the South and East China Seas, and how nervous that's making everyone, some analysts say there's a significant risk of armed conflict, perhaps even as a result of miscalculation or a mistake. The US has responded to China's island-building ways by upping patrols of its warships and surveillance planes. But greater resolve may mean greater risks for the US and for the region.